The Leafs' interesting offseason continues as they go out and add depth defensemen in Victor Mete and Jordie Benn to 1-year, $750,000 deals. And then they go out and add what looks like it might be Alex Kerfoot 2.0 and Calle Jarnkrok. What does this mean for Rasmus Sandin? Could Alex Kerfoot and Justin Holl be on the trade block? Is Pierre Engvall going to be able to slide into this lineup next season? All this and more in this video. Here we go. What's up, Leafs fans, and welcome back to Leafs Digest. Over the last couple of days, Kyle Dubas has made some interesting moves, and although the individual pieces themselves don't mean much in terms of who they signed and what they signed them for, it does indicate that something may be on the move or something might be down the pipeline here for some guys who are coming back from the roster this previous season. So let's start with Victor Mete and Jordie Benn. Victor Mete, a 24-year-old defenseman from the Ottawa Senators. He did play for the Montreal Canadiens prior to that. 5'9", 183-pound defenseman, a small, skilled defenseman who hasn't been able to translate too much of his offensive skill from junior with the London Knights to his time in the NHL. His best season that he's had so far, he played 71 games, had 13 assists, and that was it. He hasn't played many games over the last couple of seasons throughout his time with Montreal or Ottawa, even maxing out last season with 37 games played during the full season last year in Ottawa. So coming here doesn't mean too much. It's a depth guy. Hey, maybe you're taking a chance on a guy. See what he can do for you in this coming season. Jordie Benn, on the other hand, almost a flip side of this. 1-year deal, $750K as well. Also a left-handed defenseman, but what you're getting in Jordie Benn is a veteran guy, being around the league, has played 595 games through 12 seasons. He's been here, not a lot of points accumulated, but he's a physical guy, more on the side of kind of what Lyubushkin was going to bring for you in terms of physicality, maybe some shot blocking, just veteran, grizzled presence back there from him. What does this mean for defensemen, though? We shored some things up, adding Liljegren there, and then we go out. We're looking to sign Rasmus Sandin, our restricted free agent, and it was already mentioned by his agent. It doesn't seem like there's any problem with any type of term or contract number, how much he'd come back for on salary. But what his agent and Rasmus Sandin are looking for to come back to this Leafs team next year is a guaranteed spot into this lineup, which, in my opinion, makes a lot of sense. This guy's looking at this lineup ahead of him and going, I'm better than that guy. I'm better than that guy. I was playing on the second power play unit last season, and if you're not going to give me a guaranteed spot onto this team, maybe I'll look at going somewhere else where they will want me and they will have a spot for me. Because if you look around the league, there are a lot of teams who would be interested in having a mobile, strong, physical, puck-moving defenseman like Rasmus Sandin, a guy who can quarterback a power play out there on their team. So, you would think the Leafs will be looking to shed some defensemen to make some room for him to come in here, and now you add these two other guys. I'm starting to wonder what this means for Rasmus Sandin. My one takeaway will be, at bare minimum here, there will be a Leafs defenseman who played on this team last season who will be traded. And now I personally cannot give you any type of prediction. I apologize for that. But what I do kind of look at here is that Justin Holl, Jake Muzzin, Rasmus Sandin, at least one of these guys will not be wearing a Leafs jersey come opening day of next season. I believe one of or more those defensemen will be moved before puck drop on opening night next season. Reasons why: if Rasmus Sandin is going to come back, guys who are currently in this lineup will have to move out. That is one of the only ways he will sign here next year. The other being, if those other guys, Justin Holl, Jake Muzzin, will not be moved on from, Rasmus Sandin will have to be the guy who will have to leave this lineup, who will not re-sign here, who will move on to another team. When you go out and you add guys like Jordie Benn and Victor Mete, what that says to me, it's obviously not a type of move that locks you into anything. These contracts can be easily buried, gotten rid of. They can be put on waivers. They could be claimed by someone else. Think about Toronto's luck when they put guys on waivers. Other than really Nick Ritchie and Peter Mrazek, everyone on cheap contracts from Toronto who gets waived gets picked up. Jordie Benn, Victor Mete, they could easily be picked up by other teams here. So if you're not going to trade those other guys, Rasmus Sandin, in my opinion, will be out the door. And I just look at those guys and I think, hey, that is the shoring up of what you're going to have to move on from. Whether it is Sandin and you're getting extra spots out of Benn and Mete and you're saying, hey, these are the extra guys for when he's gone, or if you're moving on from Jake Muzzin and Justin Holl, or one of the two, these are the extra guys who will fill in some of the spots as the 7th, 8th defenseman into this rotation. That is my personal opinion coming out of this one. I was a little bit nervous when I saw the Mete signing because to me that indicated, hey, Sandin might be moved on from, but I started to think about it more and said, maybe, just maybe, there's a chance one of these guys that's in the lineup currently will be on their way out the door in the next couple of months before camp. Let's move on to Calle Jarnkrok here. Calle Jarnkrok is essentially Alex Kerfoot 2.0. He is 30 years old. He signs a 4-year deal, $2.1 million. He is right-handed. He can play center and wing. He's very versatile. And guess what? He was very heavily relied upon by Sutter in Calgary during the playoffs in elimination games. This is a guy who played a lot of minutes, a lot of important minutes against higher competition in those elimination games. Sutter knew he could trust him. He knew he can put him out on the ice. He was going to be reliable. He could provide a little bit of offense when it was needed. He's not going to generate any on his own. Does that sound familiar to you? Because it does to me. It feels like Alex Kerfoot, but guess what? He comes in at $1.4 million less. This is a depth guy who would likely play on your third line as your center or a winger, or could slide up into the second line like we saw from Kerfoot in the past here. And he could be a guy to either A, replace Kerfoot in this coming season and watch Kerfoot go out the door on a trade, or B, be a replacement when Kerfoot likely walks away in free agency next year. The Calle Jarnkrok signing, in my opinion, I like it. He was a guy who was sought after during his time in Nashville. He gets picked up by Seattle in the expansion draft, and then guess what? He was a hot commodity at trade deadline, and Calgary went out, spent some resources in acquiring him, and he ended up being a pretty good fit there. It obviously doesn't work out for them in the playoffs. That being said, he did become a relied upon factor in their lineup throughout important games, and it was evident during his time on ice, his usage by Sutter throughout the playoffs, throughout that stretch there. He's going to put up around the same number of points as Kerfoot. He can kill some penalties here. He's going to be a reliable third line guy, and he can play all over your lineup wherever you need him. So that signing, in my opinion, I like it. But where does this leave the Leafs? Well, currently, they sit at $756,000 of cap space remaining, and they have yet to sign restricted free agents Rasmus Sandin and Pierre Engvall. All this says to me, trades are coming. These guys are not done. And no matter what here, something's going to have to be done. You can be moved. You can be above the cap for a little bit here. It doesn't have to be cap compliant immediately. They have different periods of time where you can be over it, where before you have to get back under. So maybe they go out, they sign some guys, they sign these restricted free agents, and then guys are moved on from. But at bare minimum here, either these RFAs or guys who are in the lineup right now will need to go. You're either looking at trading guys like Robertson and Joey Anderson, or you're going to look even down into your defensemen at a Justin Holl, at a Jake Muzzin, or you're going to have to move those RFAs, but trades are coming. I don't necessarily have guys out there right now off the top of my head that I say, hey, those are the guys we need to go and trade for, or these are the pieces we need to get back. But even looking around the league at teams like Montreal, who are going out and trading Jeff Petrie and a prospect. I mean, I guess he's not even a prospect when you're looking at Paling there, the guy who actually had some time in their lineup, but then they take on guys coming back from Pittsburgh in those deals. There's different moves around the league all the time here right now throughout this summer of guys just changing cap situations, adding little pieces to their team where they say, hey, this guy can help us right now. This guy can help us in that slot. And for the Leafs team that's going out throughout this, they just made a pretty good signing, in my opinion, in Jarnkrok. They're still going to need to fill in some of the lower spots onto this lineup, some of the extra pieces. Hey, you're 13th forward. That is important. What happens when you have injuries? You can't rely on just 12. Where are these guys going to come from? Who are they going to be? We are going to need to move on from some cap, or we're going to need to move on from some of our RFAs. So it'll be interesting. And if you guys are interested in any of that, you make sure you like, comment on these videos, subscribe to this channel. We'll be breaking down everything that happens here. And the other thing is, this is the dog days of summer. And if you're betting on anything, you're probably going to be betting on the MLB. Maybe you're bored one day, you want to spend some money looking at just sitting on your couch, betting on stuff, or you're going to be betting on the golf. The Open is on right now. But when you're betting on anything, there's a couple things that are very, very important. One, you're always getting the best price. And two, you're keeping track of your money. The easiest way to do both of these things is with the betstamp app. The betstamp aggregates all of the lines across all of the different sports books, pulls them in so they show you the best odds for anything that you're looking to bet on across all of them. And then once you have found those, you go to those sites, you place those bets, you can track them in the app. You bet on the Blue Jays to win by 2 or more runs, you can see the score of the game, you can see how much money you bet on it, and you can see how much money you won. You can keep track of all the money you've won, all the money you've lost, and all the money you have in all of your different accounts through the betstamp app. Make sure you download the betstamp app or sign up on the website. The link is in the description of this video. Put in referral code LEAFS and start responsibly placing your wagers and winning more money or losing less than you would otherwise by finding the best odds through the betstamp app. Leafs fans, thank you guys so much for tuning into this. Let us know what you think is going to happen with Rasmus, Sandin, Pierre, Engvall, and how you feel about these depth defenseman signings as well as the Calle Jarnkrok pickup in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you soon. Keep believing.